I should show who I am. So, because then I was talking to Grandma, and I'm Sunshine, that's my name.
Is that what you did?
No, I didn't do that before, and I'm thinking they're going to watch it and not know who the voice is. So, okay, say who you are. What's your name?
Is that on?
Uh-huh.
Oh, you
I was just showing who what I look like.
You recorded what you said?
Uh-huh.
Oh. Okay, where do you want me to start?
Okay, what's your name?
Minnie McFarland.
And where, you were born in Oklahoma?
Arkansas.
Arkansas. When were you born? What's your birthday?
September the 3rd, 1920.
Okay. Before we talk about you, let's go back to your parents.
Oh,
your parents were born in Oklahoma.
Is that the way you did your grandma?
No, we did them wrong, so we have to do you right. They were both born in Oklahoma?
As far as I know.
And read her birthday and when she died. That's interesting.
She was born in Salisaw, Oklahoma. My mother was. September the 16th, 1890. She died July the 22nd, 1990. In Anaheim, California. And they had a service there, and then we shipped her to Arkansas to be buried. And she's buried in Arkansas at St. Joe's Cemetery.
Okay. And then was her and your dad about the same age?
No, he was quite a bit older than she was, but I don't know exactly.
You don't know how much? No. And then how many kids did they have?
They had 7 children.
So say in the order, the oldest.
I have my oldest sister was Bonnie. She passed away when she was only about 50 or 51, something like that.
What?
She had cancer. And
for what kind?
It was in her stomach somewhere. I don't know. Yeah. My mother said they just cut her open, and it looked like they had took a handful of bird seed, and it was all scattered all through her stomach. So, does that make you
okay,
sense?
who was that? Who was that?
That was my oldest sister, Bonnie Box.
Bonnie, okay.
When she got married, it was Bonnie Box.
So after Bonnie is who?
Then it was my second brother. His name was Morris. And he was only 67 years old, but I can't remember when he died. That's why I wanted to find those things, and I couldn't. And he was born at St. Joe, Arkansas. And then the next one that passed away was mine.
And he passed away?
He passed away, I don't know, he's only 67.
But do you know what he died from?
I don't. Oh, he died of cancer too.
Okay.
But
and then the next.
I can't remember the year that he.
Yeah, that's okay.
Away.
I was just wondering how.
And then my youngest brother, he.
Who's next after?
Oh, I was skipping my sister and myself.
Okay.
Well, I already told when I was born. And my sister is 2 years younger. No, older than I am. Listen.
Which sister?
Mamie.
Okay.
And she married a boy, and he passed away when he was only about 42. And you want to know how many children
sure.
she's got? But I don't know when they were born or anything like that. But anyway, she had a boy and 3 girls. Right.
Yeah. Okay.
For her.
So you're 4th?
Oh, I didn't tell you that Cecil, my oldest brother, the one after Bonnie, he had one daughter. Her name was Elaine, and she had a little boy, and his name was James, I believe. That is his name. And of course, then my brother just under Cecil. He died, but I can't remember what year, but he was only 67.
And that was cancer
too? He died of cancer.
They all died of cancer?
My sister that died when she was about 50 years old, she died of cancer.
Did they live a long time with cancer, or did they die pretty fast?
No, they just, now my sister, I think it had to be in her stomach. See, I was out here in California, and she was back in Arkansas. And then my brother, he had cancer of the liver.
Mhm.
And then my youngest brother, he just turned 62 when he
Mhm.
passed away. And he died in 88. And he had cancer of the liver. And my father, he died of cancer too, but I don't really remember where the cancer was. I don't know if it was in his lungs or his liver again.
How old were you when your dad died?
Oh, I was already
It
had
was,
mom.
oh, okay.
So,
Yeah.
but see, I can't remember the years.
Yeah, that's all
If
right.
I'd have found them papers.
We'll
No, I
find
didn't
them.
have my father's anyway. I had my mother's and my brother's. So,
Go ahead.
take it away.
I'll get you more if you want it. Okay.
So where do we go from there?
Okay. So then, where did you grow up?
In Arkansas, in Adkins and Russellville. That's where I went to school at.
And what did your parents do?
My parents, they did farm work and they sharecropped
And what is
land.
explain what that is?
Well, now what I think it is like somebody else owned the property and they farmed it like cotton, corn and stuff like that. And then he got part of the money, and my father and mother did too, from what they were raising, whatever they raised.
Did the kids work in the fields too?
Yes, after we got big enough, Dorothy never did, and I didn't too much because I felt like I was sick all the time.
Oh yeah.
Or my mother thought I was anyway. She said she could always look at my eyes and tell that I didn't feel good, so that way I didn't. There was times though that I did pick cotton, and not a whole lot. Not I was pretty good size.
How old were they when they started working? Your siblings. When you
They were young, always.
in grade school.
All of us kids. Oh yeah. They were in grade school. So.
Okay, so then you went. How many schools did you go to? 2? 1? Was it one school all the way
I had to go
through?
to different schools because we moved, see, different places. The first one I ever went to, the little town was called Blackburn, Arkansas. And that's when I first started to school. And, well, I guess my brothers and sisters both were going at the same time. But JB, of course, he was the youngest. And I can't remember Dorothy going, when I went to school there. I don't remember it. I just remember my brother that passed away when he was 67, and then Mamie and myself. That's all I can remember that went to this school. But I'm sure there was the rest of them down below that was already here,
And then you moved?
And then we moved, and I don't know where we moved to. But anyway, I went to school quite a bit in Adkins, Arkansas. Then we moved up close to Russellville, and that's where I went to school.
And then you went to up until like you were a junior? And then what?
Then what did I do? I guess I just worked. I mean, it's like I was telling you a while ago, I worked in this little cafe, and then there was another little cafe, and then that I worked in.
And then when did you meet Sam?
Oh, I think I knew Sam a long time because we were in a flood. Now this I should tell because we've had the floods in California. I was 7 years old, and Sam lived down the road from us, and but there came a flood, and we had to move our stuff over across the river now because it was going to flood our house. We put all of our stuff. We made several trips. First, I think all of us kids went over on this little boat, and it's like at the foot of a mountain that we went to, because we could look on our porch and see after we got over there, all of the water. Even the mailman couldn't go through. So so they were, I can't remember how many days, but there were several days
Mhm.
that we didn't even get no mail
Mhm.
on account of the flood. But we moved the furniture and everything over there.
What kind of house, when you were little, what kind of house was it? I mean, did you have indoor plumbing and electricity
Oh
and stuff?
no, we didn't have that. Let's see, where, where did I live the first time we had plumbing? Probably in Russellville.
And no electricity either.
No, no, we didn't have no electricity there
Mhm.
because I remember the oil, some kind of oil we put in.
Mhm.
What did we put in it?
Yeah.
Not kerosene. It was kerosene.
Mhm.
Kerosene, that's what it was. And you have to strike a match. Had a globe on it.
Mhm.
The bottom was down here, and you put the oil in down here.
Mhm.
Then you put a thing over the top of it where the globe fit in.
Mhm.
And you'd have to take that globe off to strike a match to light it.
And so there wasn't radio or anything back then. Do you remember what you guys did in the evenings?
Oh, they were radios. Now we lived in one place, and I can't even. I can see the place, but I can't remember the name of it or anything. And I don't even remember where we went to school at when we lived there.
But in the evenings with the 7 kids and your mom and dad, I mean, what
Well,
did you
see,
guys do?
they wasn't 7 kids for just a short time, because my oldest sister, she got married. I think she got married. Maybe she was 17 or 18. I can't remember.
Mhm.
And of course JB, he was the last one.
Mhm.
So I don't know how many years there was between them. I could figure it out,
Yeah.
but that's
Right.
you could even do that.
Yeah.
Too. As she got married though, see, and that way there was really only 6 when
Mhm.
there was 7, and then she got married.
But
So I
nowadays in the evenings we just watch TV and what did you
That's
do?
right.
You
We
visited
had the
or
old Victrola that you cranked up and put
the records?
the records on it. I remember that.
Do you remember what records? What kind of? Do you remember any of who it was? Yeah, I don't
Can't
know either.
remember none of that. And we had the radio, and we
Mhm.
listened to the radio too. And of course we had chickens and stuff like that, and all of us kids had to help do the chores.
Right.
As soon as we got big enough, we had to. And I remember we lived on this farm. This is where I don't know what I was telling you about, but anyway, I remember this though. We lived in the same house, which I had already told you something about this house. My dad and mother had to get up real early to go chop cotton as soon as it come daylight. Well, I'd get up while they cooked breakfast, and I'd sit out on the back steps watching the chickens come off the roost. Oh, I was always an early riser.
How old were you? Were just a little kid, right?
Little kid, wasn't old enough to chop cotton, that was for sure. And then my sister Mamie, she, my mother used to go chop cotton after JB was born, and she and I would stay home and take care of him. We weren't very old though.
Yeah.
Anyway,
While your mom was outside working.
Chopping cotton. And then she'd fill the wood stove up to cook on, put the wood in there, and then she'd pour kerosene on it, and she'd tell us when to light it. And of course, I remember me and Mamie, we stayed so close together. Every time we were doing something, we were close together. We even had to change JB's diapers. Now, it seemed to me like I was only about 7 years old. And to make the beds, Mamie would get on one side, and I'd get on the other side. And we'd have them beds all made when my mother came home when my mother and my 2 brothers and my father come home to have lunch. But we'd light that stove. She'd tell us what time to light that stove, and we'd light the stove, and then she would come home and do the cooking, because we were so young we couldn't cook. But we made beds and took care of that baby.
The sheets and the diapers and stuff, you took the cotton somewhere and then they made them, or how did?
No, see, you pick the cotton, and then they take it to a gin. Is that what they call it, Arlen? Cotton gin. Cotton gin. And they'd bale it up. And then they'd ship it somewhere. I don't know what they'd done.
And then you go and buy the diapers and buy the sheets.
No, yeah. We bought the diapers, And, well, everything was made out of cotton then, too.
Mhm.
And anyway, we'd have to change the diapers, do the washing.
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't know if we done too much washing by ourselves or not, but I'm sure my mother helped us.
And then how did you bathe? Did you?
Oh, we had a big old iron kettle
Mhm.
outside that had 3 legs on it.
Mhm.
And you'd build a fire under that, and then you get your water hot, and then you put it. This is the way we washed. We put the water over in the tub. Get a bucket and dip it over the tub.
Mhm.
We had a rub board. We'd go up, down, up, down. And now I can laugh about it, but I'm sure it wasn't too funny.
No, no.
When I was having to do it.
Is it all gone? You need more water? Let's stop it and we'll get more. Alright, let me start it. And we should say, do we know the date?
Date of what?
Today? It's January 96, right? That's good enough. The 18th or so.
It's the 13th, I think.
Wow.
All right, look at the calendar and see if it's not the 13th up there, because we want to date this thing. All this.
Yes, today's Monday, January 13th.
Oh,
13th.
okay.
I thought it
I'm way
was,
off.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay,
Anyway,
so,
where'd we leave off?
okay, we're still talking about your childhood. What else? Can you think of anything else, or should we go on? That you want to say in particular? No?
No.
No? Okay. Any like childhood illnesses or anything? Did
Oh,
any of your
this
siblings?
is one that you might want to know. Of course, it's not a good story, but I mean, it's something. But my mother and dad, you know, they always worked out. And this is my oldest sister before she got married and before my youngest brother was born. Dorothy is the youngest one now.
Mhm.
And, because then after my mother had Dorothy, then she had JB. But, anyway, Dorothy was a little bitty girl, maybe 2 or 3 years old, I can't remember. But my sister was, there cleaning the house up, you know, and it was in the springtime. Like in the mornings, it gets real cool, you know, and you build a fire in the fireplace so that it'll warm the house a little. Okay. And Dorothy, she was just scared of cats. But anyway, somebody had delivered some chicken feed or hog feed or something. It was laying on the front porch. And Mamie and I were out there playing on this. Well, Dorothy was in the house, and my sister was in another room, Bonnie. She was in another room making the beds or doing something. She was making a bed, I remember now. Anyway, Dorothy got a piece of paper and stuck it in those ashes, coals things, and caught it afire, and it burned her all on her arm, all down here. And Bonnie heard her screaming, and she thought we were scaring Dorothy with a cat. And then finally, Dorothy was screaming so. Well, Bonnie realized that there was really something wrong besides scaring her with a cat. She looked out there, and there's all of Dorothy's clothes on fire. She just grabbed a quilt off of the bed and wrapped it around and smothered it out. But Dorothy's got a great big scar right here. Comes down here.
Anything you could do to make it? I mean, you could.
They took her to the doctor, and they put. I believe it was called linseed oil. They put soaked that in and put it on this burn, and they had to do that for several days until it cleared up. And then they quit. That's the worst thing I think worst thing in their family that ever happened.
Nobody else got real sick or anything when they were little?
No. We were sick off and on, but I think every kid in Arkansas was that way.
Yeah.
And I remember my mother always had so much to do, you know, with all of us kids. My father used to sit by our bed, put wet cloths on her head.
Yeah.
And Dorothy used to get a kernel in her neck here that would just swell up. Well, it caused from her tonsil, I think. But she couldn't raise her head up by herself. My father she'd be on a pillow. Well, my father would put his hand up like this and raise her up so she could drink when she had those sore throats.
Mhm.
And I guess she finally outgrew them because that was when we were real small.
Mhm.
And we all had the measles, I think, at the same time. Everybody but Bonnie, and she was out of the family by then. I mean, she'd married,
Goodness.
going on with her own family.
So, how old were you when you got married?
21.
And
No,
then,
not 20. I was only 20. That's right.
and
19.
how old was Sam?
He was 36. And it was 1940, and that's when I got to California.
You came to California after you got married or before?
We came, he brought me out here, Cecil was out here in his service. And then brought me out here, and then later we went back. Is that all
Is it
right?
that lamp? Is it gonna fall?
No.
No. Okay. Okay. Cecil was out here, so then you guys, did you get married in Arkansas or California?
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a big wedding, or where'd you get
Just
married?
as a piece.
Just as a piece in like a little courthouse?
Uh-huh.
And who all was there? Do you remember?
Nobody but me and him, my friend.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody. I don't know.
No?
Can't remember.
You can't remember?
But that's been a long time.
Yeah. And then you moved to California, and then how long before you got pregnant?
Oh.
Right away?
That was December 40, and then I had a baby in the 15th, the 11th and the 15th of 41. I just seen the birth certificate in there.
But your first pregnancy, didn't you say there were problems?
Well, I was sick for 36 hours, and then they finally, they didn't do
When
the
you're real
cesarean.
big, or?
I can't remember how big I got.
But I mean, you were sick towards the end of the pregnancy?
No, I wasn't sick. It was just that I just had a hard time having the baby.
Oh.
It took me that long to have it.
36 hours?
About 36 hours, I think.
And
they took me to the delivery room. I didn't even know this. I didn't know nothing. They must have put me to sleep. But they had to use the forceps.
forceps?
And then they told me I'd never have one natural birth. And then if that baby had lived, there'd only been 16 months difference between him and Fred.
Oh.
And they had told me I wouldn't have one natural birth.
Uh-huh.
And I was living in Linden.
Mm-hmm.
I woke up like 1:30 in the morning, and I moved my leg, my water broke. We had to come all the way into Stockton, and I thought sure I was going to have that baby before I got to the hospital. Anyway, we went in the hospital. I started up on the elevator, and I see it was 3 o'clock though. We walked in, and this lady that was behind the desk, they didn't have a lot of people like they do now working in the hospital. But anyway, she was going to take us upstairs, you know, where the ward was. And she pushed the elevator button. She says, "Is this your first one?" I said, "No, it's my second one, and my water broke already." Boy, up there we went. She really went up there. So then, of course, Sam had to sit outside the thing, and I said to them, "Oh, I have to go to the bathroom. My bowels are going to move." And she said, "We'll let you go if you won't lock the door."
Uh-huh.
And I said, "I don't care. I don't care.
Leave the door
You
open."
can come in there with me if you want to." But I remember saying
Yeah.
that because I was hurting so bad I didn't know
Yeah.
nothing. Anyway, then I went in the bathroom, and I went back, and I started to lay down on the bed.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Oh, I got to go to the bathroom again. Oh, no, it's the baby. It's the baby."
Yeah.
I remember all that stuff. And Sam says they come out of there with me on a gurney and running just as fast as they could go down there. I was at the hospital 29 minutes when I had Fred.
Oh, my goodness.
29 minutes. And they did all that stuff in, you know, because it was 3 o'clock when I looked up there, and he was born at 29.
And then how many days did you stay?
I believe I stayed 9 days. I'm almost sure I did. because I had the doctor that owned Dameron Hospital, Dr. Chapman. He was my doctor, and they said when if you're Dr. Chapman's paper, you gotta. I think they let me go home on the 10th day because they say he.
Did you get to spend time with Fred when you were during those 9 days or 10 days?
They'd bring him in for me to let him nurse something. No, they didn't dare let you do that way when at that time. But now they put the baby in the room right with you. Melinda had Anthony in the room all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
And they had told her though, you wasn't there, but they told it right in front of me. I was still there. Now we're going to leave the baby in here overnight with you. But if it bothers you, you don't get no sleep, then we'll come and get him. She thanked her. Oh, it was so. It was so
We'll talk about that too.
Yeah.
Okay, so then Fred was born, and he was healthy and fine when he was little, no problems. And then Dad, you're pregnant with Dad. Your pregnancies were fine.
They're fine. They were fine. Yeah.
And then
with Ron though, after I was so many months, and I can't remember how many months, they had me checking practically every week, I think, for antibodies because my blood is the Rh positive. No, positive, I guess. That's a rare kind, isn't it? And I had to go and have that checked. And then when as soon as Ron was born, though, they took the blood out of his heel to see if he was the same as,
same as you.
See what it was. Yeah. And he was okay. So whatever it was, that's been 50 years ago. I think 49.
Yeah,
anyway.
he's about there. And then what do you remember about his delivery?
I'm living in Linden, so I get up in the morning, and I could see that I was bleeding, and then I called the doctor, and he said that, that's what they call a showing. He said, you're getting ready. He said, come when you feel like you should. And of course it was in October, and Sam was real busy in the Walnuts. So Sam, when I told him what the doctor said, went out where he was and told him. He said, if you could just wait till about 12 o'clock, I'll have everything done, and then I wouldn't have to worry about Fred, because I'll keep him and take care of him. And so at 9 o'clock, I told Florence, this was the lady that Sam was working for, I told her that I had to get to the hospital when she go get Sam. He's out in the field, picking people on, having crews doing it, him hauling him. And but I thought that was so funny. He said, if you would only wait till 12 o'clock. And of course, at 9 o'clock we had to go. But when my pain started, they just hung on. There wasn't a quick pain and leave. These were just holding on. And I got to the hospital, whatever time it took us to go from Linden out to Dameron Hospital. When I got there, though, they told me they were going to give me a shot to bring the pains on, I guess. They said, she don't need this. They examined me, to see how much I dilated and all that stuff. And she don't need this shot. 5 minutes after 12, Ron was born.
In the afternoon.
5 minutes after 12 that day. We got there about 9 o'clock. Well, we left the house at 9, I think. And maybe we got to the hospital at 9. But anyway, 5 minutes after 12, he was born, though, and Sam goes, if you'll just wait till 12 o'clock.
To leave. So Sam was working, doing farm work.
This lady had, when he first came to California, I don't know if he first came to California, he went to work for it's called Solari's Inn. in Linden. It's about 2 miles on the other side of Linden. Anyway, she had a service station, she had a bar and a grocery store and an eating place, you know. It was like a little ice cream thing. She served lunch. She made big lunches for it. Because it was out in the country. We had to, and she made, the farmers all came in there and ate, see. And so anyway, Arlen did a little bit of everything. He would
Sam.
erase that. Sam would do just about everything, but he did all the tractor work and stuff like that, and the taking care of the farm part. And then he tin barred for her, and
And were you working?
no,
No,
didn't
not when you were
work.
pregnant and had little
I
kids.
didn't work. I never even thought about working myself. Well, I did now after boys got older,
In school.
and no, Ron wasn't yet going to school when we moved. Fred was in the 3rd grade, and he went to Bologna. And when we moved up to Stockton, but see, it was during the war, and but Sam would go out and drive that tractor, and then he'd come home and tin bar for her, like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. 2 o'clock in the morning, I think they had to close it too. Get up next morning and drive that tractor again, or whatever had to be done. And she had a campground on the other side with cabins and little tents and everything, especially in the cherry season and walnut seasons like that. They would come over there and camp. Of course, they'd pay her so much. Well, he had to take care of that campground too, and he was a worker. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
He was a worker.
So then when
That's
did you
for sure.
start working again?
I didn't start working. Well, I'd help them in the grocery store too. You know, when the kids was big enough, more or less, to get out and play by themselves.
Yeah.
But they'd always be around where I know where they were. I helped in the grocery store some, and then when we moved to Stockton, of course we lived out on the ranch too, and I didn't go to work until the boys would have to catch the bus like at 8 o'clock, and then they wouldn't get home till about 3:30 or 4. And I went to work across the street from across the highway at a motel, and then after that, after I worked there for so many years, I can't remember how many, but I went to work in the laundry in Stockton. Yeah, because I lived in Stockton then. And then when Fred graduated, he worked at the same place for a while. That's where he was working when he got his driver's license. So and that's where I was working when Ron got his driver's license. So that's.
So did Dad or Fred have any problems when they were growing up? Any broken bones or
No.
any? They weren't sick or nothing.
Oh, a tractor blew up with Sam one time. He was putting gas in it. He stayed out. I think he was shaking walnuts or something. Anyway, we had a little black dog, and I can't remember what kind of dog it was. But anyway, this dog always went down to meet him the road, you know. But it was in the winter time, so we had the dog in the house with us, and that dog just started having a holy fit. And I was wondering why Sam was working so late, you know. It was dark, and so the dog started having a holy fit, wanting to get out. So I made the dog come back, and some guy knocked on the door and told us that the tractor had blown up with Sam right down on the road. He got burned real bad, and but he did have to stay in the hospital. Where did he get burned? It was his feet, legs, I think it was. But he had run out of gas, and he was putting gas in there. And of course, he hit the can against a metal, and that made a spark, and that's why the tractor blew up with him. Great big blisters. Oh, they were terrible. He got back on the tractor, though. I don't know if it's the next day or the next one, and I wouldn't doubt it a bit. It was the first day or the next day after that night. But I went down to take him some food. He had the tractor stopped, and he had his foot up like this. And I said, Sam, why don't you get off that track when you get home? Oh, no, I'll be all right, But he's having to hold it up like that because it was hurting so bad. But I went back home, and I had made the bed, though, that morning, and all this stuff was all over the sheets. And when I went back home, I called the doctor and told him that those blisters had let the what would you call it? Like water would come out of those blisters. And so he said, well, he should stay off of it a while, but he said that's natural for him to do that. Otherwise, they'd never clear up or something. I can't remember now how he explained it to me, but he said it's natural for him to do that.
So, tell the story of when Dad met Mom.
You mean when the first night he went out with him, come home? He always left the back door open for him, see. So you want me to act it out too? Anyway.
I don't know if you could do it sitting down. But
No, I'll get up. You won't see me though, will you? I'll stand up in front of the camera and do it. Anyway, he came in the back door. Of course, I got up, and he comes in the house, and he's going. And I said, "What's the matter with you?" He wouldn't say nothing.
Get over that way. Okay.
What's the matter with you? He wouldn't say nothing, so he goes in the house. Goes in his bedroom, he goes to bed. The next morning, he comes through the house. Ron, why are you doing that? Oh, he says, Mom, I'm in love, and I'm on cloud 9. And that was it. And that was Vicky that he fell in love with. He was walking on cloud 9.
And they were in high school, right?
No, he was out of high school.
He was?
She was still in high school. That was her last year.
Her senior year, yeah.
Have you got it there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want my face in there. That's for sure. No. So anyway, that was it. That was his love.
And then they had a nice wedding.
Yes, a very nice wedding. Very nice. Yeah.
And you and Sam were still together?
Oh yeah.
Until after I was born?
No, just your sister. They got married when they got married in 67.
Yeah, probably. What do you remember about Mom being pregnant with Melinda?
Not too much.
But were you around for when she had her?
Yes, I was working at Denny's there by the across the street from the Hotel Stockton Inn. Right across the street, I was working at that. I went up there. I guess your dad must have called me and told me she was in the hospital. So as soon as I got off from work, I worked at Denny's over there as a hostess and cashier for 17 months. And I went up there, and the nurses. She was on that.
In Lodi.
In Lodi on the Lower Sacramento Road, right? The one on Lower Sacramento. Yeah. Anyway, she was there, and one of her cousins or somebody was working there. And they was treating her like a baby. They were rubbing her back. And poor Ronnie, he was so scared.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing her, but I can't remember if I stayed. I know I seen her right after she was born, but it could have been the next day after I got off from work or something. I can't remember that. I can remember stuff when I was a kid better than I can now.
And then what about when I was born?
You was in Reno, and your dad called me a few days before you were born, and told me that if you had a little girl, they were going to name her Kelly Sunshine. Kelly Sunshine? Oh, I thought that was something else. Anyway, then I said, if you have a little boy, what are you going to name him? Well, we haven't even thought about a name for a boy because he just knew he was going to have another girl. Anyway, then when he did call me and tell me that you guys had a girl, and her name was Kelly Sunshine. So I'm walking to work because I'm only a block and a half or 2 blocks from work, and I was going, Kelly Sunshine, 3 little granddaughters. Kelly Sunshine, 3 little granddaughters. Before noontime, that name was the most beautiful name I ever heard. I thought that was something. Then, oh, you must have been 2 or 3 months old, or maybe older than that. But he called me and he says, Mom, he says, you know what? We named this baby the best name in the world, he says, because she's just a sunshine. Every time she wakes up, she's laughing. She's not crying like a baby. She's laughing. So you must have been, as little ones, you really don't know if they're laughing or not.
Yeah.
So I guess that was a story of you.
Huh. Well.
Then you guys moved to Sacramento, and I got to see you more, and they even came down, let you stay all night. They brought your your playpen.
Mm-hmm.
You slept in the playpen, and Melinda and I slept in the bed. And then, of course, after you got older, you got to come see me more often.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. When did you meet Arlen? When I was little, all I remember really is Arlen.
When Stacy was little.
Mm-hmm.
She must have been. She was in your mother.
Their wedding.
Their wedding. You know, she didn't know that.
She didn't?
Until I told her.
Oh, she should see
Not
pictures.
too long ago. She never seen no pictures.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't have no pictures of your mother and dad's wedding
We'll
either.
have to get some.
Oh.
So how did you meet Arlen?
Oh, me and him and Sam and his wife used to go dancing. So Sam and I were separated,
Mm-hmm.
and then Arlen said that he wanted to talk. He was dancing with me, and he said, I want to talk to you. No, he put a note in my hand. He said, I want to talk to you tomorrow. Meet me after work or something. Can't remember what the note said now. And I was at the laundromat doing my laundry, and he came there where I was, and so I said, oh, first I asked him to go. They wanted to talk to me. I said, what are you going to talk to me about? I had no idea. Anyway, I said, he said, you want to talk to me about Evelyn, because they were having a little problem with Evelyn. And he said, that's one thing. And then when I met him over there, he came where I was. I said, what do you want to talk to me about? He goes, I want to tell you I'm in love with you. I said, you must be kidding. That was the words that came out of my mouth. You must be kidding. I had no idea the guy was. So, anyway.
So then you dated?
We dated, and then he took him 3 years to get a divorce, though. I think that's why we never got married, because it took that long. And for that long, we knew each other.
Yeah, fine, just living together.
And there was a guy told us to, he says, don't never get married. He said, if you do, you break up a good thing. And I've since that, I've heard of several people that lived together and then they got married. And
yeah, I've heard of them too.
And I always said, though, that if Arlen and I had gotten married, I would have never lived with him. But he's a good roommate.
Mm-hmm. When did you?
But for husband, I don't think he is.
When did you have your heart attack?
Oh, let's see, I had my stomach surgery.
What stomach surgery?
Oh, you didn't know that? I had a high L hernia. Got the big scar right there. Shall I show it? Anyway, that was in November of 76.
76?
76.
But your heart was before, no?
'76, and then I had a heart attack in '77. No, wait a minute. '75, I had my surgery on my stomach. And in '76, I had a heart attack. '77, then I had open heart surgery in Stanford. Bypasses. And then that's this next July will be 20 years. The 15th of July of '97, it will be 20 years. And I had the balloon twice in the grafts that they put in '77. And then in '88, right after my brother passed away, they did the angiogram and they found out I had a blockage behind my heart. And they did the balloon, which unplugged that. And then in '93, I had the balloon twice. Once in January, once in July. July is a some month for me. But anyway, the doctor told me then in July, he said if it clogs up again, he says in the next couple of months, he says we'll just give you new grafts and get it over with.
And then it didn't.
He never had to. Never had to. Saturday night when I went dancing, I had a little bit of chest pain and tightness, not pain, tightness, and that's all I've had for months. At first, right after they did the angioplastic in July of '93, it was quite often I'd get the tightness in my chest, but then I don't know what happened. It just went away. But I told my doctor, Dr. Zena, your mother knows him. She went to school with him. I mean, he was her teacher, but she's going to school. Anyway, he said, I don't know what you're doing, but whatever you're doing, just keep it up. He said, because it seems like you're doing real great. And I said, Doctor, I pray a lot. He said, well, just keep it up. Well, of course, he knew I went dancing a lot,
When
too.
did you start going dancing? Go ahead and drink.
We've always went dancing at different places, but
Ever since you first met?
Arlen and I did. Like on the weekend, we'd go with our Saturday night or something. We'd go to Lodi with his brother and his wife, and then we must be going to these clubs now that we belong to. Maybe 5 years now. Maybe not that. It's even a little longer. Something.
Yeah. How often do you go?
Well, we go every chance we get.
Which is about how much a week?
On Mondays and Tuesdays, we go every Monday and Tuesdays, unless have to go to the doctor or see somebody, or my granddaughter comes up, and I have to meet her for lunch. And that granddaughter, her name is Sunshine Frawley. Frawley?
Yeah.
Sunshine Frawley. And then we go every other Sunday to Escalon, but every Monday to Riverbank, and every Tuesday to Modesto, Bowden and Scenic, and then once second Saturday night in the month, we go to Bowden here in Modesto, and I guess that's about it.
Yeah.
We try to go as much as we can to get the exercise.
Yeah, good exercise.
Because,
That's fun.
I need it with the diabetes, too. So.
When did you get diabetes?
About the year my mother passed away, and she passed away at 90, wasn't it? Yeah, because I knew I had it when I went back there. Yeah, I've had it that long.
But you don't take shots. You just
no, I just take medication. Medication for my heart. My thyroids were a little low, and after I moved down here, of course, I got a different doctor, and he checked all my thyroids. Well, they did up Stockton too, but anyway, he found out that my thyroids were low, so he put me on a pill, and then, of course, he checks it every, I don't know how often, I mean, I never keep count of that, but anyway, the last time he checked it, it was just fine, but he still wanted me to take the pill for the thyroid.
Why didn't you tell about when Anthony was born?
Oh, oh, that was something else. That was something else.
When did they call you?
They called me like 7 o'clock in the morning, and I thought she was ready to have the baby, and I couldn't wait to get up there. And I asked, I think it was 7, maybe it was something about 5, though I remember. Anyway, she went in the hospital, I think, at 1 o'clock, though,
I don't
in
know.
the morning.
Uh-huh.
I think she did. But Jeff didn't call me. I think it must have been 7 o'clock before Jeff called me. Anyway, I rushed up there. Didn't even know where I was going. I go down this road. I go up 99, then I go over the freeway, and this road's there. So I take this road. What do? I get out there, and I see a dairy farm, and some guy's out there working. I asked this guy where the hospital was. He couldn't even speak English. But he told me something. He kept saying these things and pointing for me.
Yeah.
So I knew I had to go back the other way. So I had to turn around and go back. I finally found the hospital, though. And poor little Melinda, I thought she was never going to have that baby. Oh, I thought she was never going to. Because, you know, she was so much different than I remember myself doing. I remember when I started having bear down pains for it, they stayed there until I had that baby. Well, she'd have a pain, and then, and she'd just scream out. And then it'd be gone. And then she'd wait so long, and then she'd have another one. But mine would just come real fast.
Mm-hmm. And so who was there at the hospital when you got there?
When I got there, Jeff was, and I think they all was. Mm-hmm. Diane and her girlfriend, what's her name?
Marcia.
Marcia was right there. I guess Marcia went with her for her coaching and stuff too, because Marcia was right there. And then Jeff's sister-in-law, and Mike was sitting out in a waiting room, and so he's reading a book. I go out and is that you, Mike? He said, yeah. I said, where's Melinda at? He goes right down there. And they have her up in the air. And you walk in the door, and there she is right in front of you. And then, of course, when the pain would go away, she'd roll over on her side.
And everybody's coming in and out of the room?
Yeah. Then Helen and Diane, they were going out to lunch, and I'm still in there, and then pretty soon I told Melinda I'm going to go have lunch too. And I guess she already had the baby then when we went out to lunch. I know she did. She already had the baby. And you know what? They brought that baby out there, and they lay it on this, like a little changing table like. And the baby shaking. Oh my God, he was shaking. And I said, oh, he's freezing. Touched that where he was laying on. It was just as warm as it could be. Just as warm as he could be. Yeah. And the lady sat there and cleaned him up and everything and let us watch her. And then she got him all dressed and everything. And I kept thinking, oh, he's freezing. He's freezing. I felt that it was just like a heating pad. So I guess they just shake.
Yeah.
And I got to hold him right there in the room. Marcia let me hold him. Anyway, that was something. That was another nice thing. After 8 years anyway. Huh?
Yeah, a long time.
She was married 8 years, yeah. Got to give up on him. Oh, and I got to tell you this. This is so sweet. He was maybe 3 or 4 months old. Anyway, I went up to see her, and of course she had the baby there at work with her. And she had to change his diaper. So she goes back, where she's got her little changing table set up, her TV, and the baby's crib over here. And she said, come on back, man, I got to change him. So when she got him changed, here's the way she did. She stood him up on her lap like this. She's holding him in one of the arms like this. She goes, oh, honey, I love you so much. And if I'd known you'd been this sweet, I'd have had you a long time ago. I thought that was so sweet. Yeah, she said, if I'd known you'd been this sweet, I'd have had you a long time ago. Yeah. Did it shut off?
No, but it's getting towards the end.
Well, what shall we talk about now?
I don't know.
Let us move it to Modesto.
Okay.
Okay, we lived in Stockton. We decided we wanted to move to Modesto, and this lady, she wanted to get married, and she had a mobile home, and she wanted to sell it. So Arlen and I wanted to be...
And how old was she?
She was, when she got married, let's see, I known her since she was 80. And Arlen says she's 84 now.
So
I went to her surprise birthday
And then
party.
how old was her husband?
He was 86, I think.
Uh-huh.
She was, let's see, they've been married. She went with him for 2 years.
Uh-huh.
And then they've been married now for over a year.
Okay, so they're getting married.
Uh-huh.
So she wanted to sell.
And she wants to sell it. So we bought it, and here we are.
Closer to dancing.
Closer to the dancing. But I'd rather be closer to my great-grandson, but
Yeah.
I'm not, so, and I do have a bigger place. But you know something? That place up there, though, the living room was bigger than this.
I don't know.
Yes, it was. Sure, because it was like
A double wide.
a 14, it was like 14 by 15 or something,
Mhm.
14 by 17 or something. I can't remember now. But it was bigger than this.
Did you do any traveling ever? You went to Hawaii?
Oh, yes, I went to Hawaii one time. My girlfriend, when I was working at Denny's, she had a car accident, and she and her husband was separated, and she was in Sacramento at that base, you know, like you're going to go up to Lake Tahoe. No, wait a minute, it's before you get on Grant Line Road, somewhere up there. Anyway, her husband was in the service scene, so she still had insurance for that, and she almost got killed. So I was the one that go up and see her, and because I was by myself, you know, and I could do whatever I wanted to. So when she got well then, enough to do anything, why, she called me up one night, and I was ironing, and she said, Minnie, how would you like to go to Hawaii? And I said, my bags are all packed. And she said, no, let's go. And I said, it's fine with me. She says, I'll pay your way. So she paid my way.
You were in your 50s?
I was in my 40s
40s?
then. See, I got a divorce when I was 47. And anyway, I had just gotten this job over at Plymouth Square. And Plymouth Square is a retirement founding.
You want to drink of water?
So I'm got my
She's got her
thing.
thing. You can sit down there with her if you want. The tape's almost over, but...
Anyway, this was you had to be 62 or older to live there. It's a retirement foundation. So anyway, I was only there about 2 months, and then we took off on the plane from San Francisco and went over there. And we just toured the whole island, all around.
Which one?
The big island. Like we landed in. First, we touched down, I guess it was. In I can't remember. If I had the map, I could, remember. Now don't put your feet in my face now.
That's all right.
I want my feet to show. I mean, my face to show. Anyway, then we had a tour guide, and there were several people after we got over there got together. So we'd go from island to island, sea to sea. Well, I seen 3 islands. That's what I see. And Maui was a pretty one. Oh, it was pretty. And we toured that all day long. All day long. And,
He's fine. He's fine.
yes.
I'll move it a little bit.
Oh, you're going to take his picture.
Well, we can see both of you.
Well,
I don't know.
you're tripping on the.
I just don't know about the lighting is all.
Your mother's gonna die laughing.
Oh, she'll love it.
When she sees this. Can you see us both then?
So, I don't know I don't think there's much tape left though.
Well, we don't have much more to talk about, I don't
We're all the way up to Anthony.
Anyway, we're up to Anthony and poor little guy, I wish he could have that ear trouble.
Yeah.
That's terrible. But you know, I can't remember. It seemed like it was your dad had a lot of, maybe a sore throat he had, because he had to have his tonsils taken out. He had to have his tonsils taken out when he was real young.
Oh.
And,
The grandma and grandpa said they thought Mom had to have her tonsils taken out twice.
oh yeah? Oh. No, the doctor told me, I don't think Ron was even a year old when he told me that his tonsils had to be taken out. He says, but let's wait till he gets a little older. And I think he was 3 years old when he had his tonsils taken out.
I want to ask for a little bit. Arlen, just for like history stuff, what war were you in?
What war? World War II,
And what service?
Navy.
And what did you do?
Well, I was a motor machinist, first class mechanic.
He stayed 6 years.
Yeah.
That was before.
And it was when the war was going on, or what?
Yeah.
It was.
42 to 48.
And where did you go?
I went in the Pacific and the Atlantic. Mostly in the Pacific. Not in the Aleutians. Went to China, Tsingtao, Shanghai.
Their feet are gonna look real big.
No,
Guam.
it
A lot
won't.
of a lot of places. And learned a lot of things. Got a good education.
Yeah. You were young,
I went in, I was 22.
and then you got married afterwards.
I was married when I went in.
Oh, you were. Did you have kids when you went in?
No, I didn't have any. Yeah,
Afterwards.
afterwards.
What?
How many kids did you have?
We was 2 girls.
See, that's what I wanted to ask.
And how many brothers and sisters?
I had 3 brothers and 1 sister.
And are they all living?
Yes.
And where did you grow up?
In Missouri and Iowa.
And then when did you come out to California?
1939.
His youngest brother, too, just had open heart surgery.
Oh.
3 bypasses.
And he's doing okay? I think we're getting towards the end here. I don't want to have it cut us off. Can you think of anything else?
No.
We've been talking a long time.
We sure have. It's too bad I can't see that before you leave.
Well, we can try. We'll try.
Oh, with that little,
Okay, this is my Nana's mobile home in Modesto. And it's a very cold and frosty morning. Across the way is a very frosty orchard of some sort. And my very frosty car. And we'll go inside. I'll have to take a quick walk through because I think the tape is all gone. Doo-doo-doo. Doo-doo-doo. And the tape is all gone. I can't take a picture of your bed?
you can take a picture of it, but look at that
Pretty.
dresser.
Okay, I won't take a picture of the dresser. It's too dark in there. It's gone anyway, the tape.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know if it's working.